95% of people make this fat loss mistake in their 40s. And if you're doing everything right, but the scale isn't moving, if you are in your 40s and you've tried dieting, going to the gym and doing more cardio only to feel more exhausted, more frustrated, and just less confident in your body, this video is for you. Because fat loss in your 40s doesn't stop working because you're lazy or you're just getting older. It stops working because most people double down on strategies that actively work against their body at this stage of life. Hi, I'm Zita. I'm a nutrition and fitness coach, and together with my partner Terry, a neuropsychology and body image coach, we help men and women over 40 to lose fat, stop fighting with their bodies, and finally feel confident in their own skin. Today, I want to show you the number one mistake I see almost everyone makes in their 40s and what actually works instead. Here is the mistake. When fat loss slows down in your 40s, most people assume they need to eat less and they need to move more, so they push harder. So they add more cardio and endurance-focused exercises like high rocks style circuit training. They cut more calories, they avoid desserts, they cut out foods or food groups, and they're just trying to be good. On paper, this calories in, calories out fact makes sense, but in reality, it backfires because in your 40s, your body's response to stress, restriction, and recovery changes. Hormones shift, so your recovery slows and your stress tolerance drops. And when you respond by piling on more cardio and more restriction, your body doesn't speed up fat loss. It does the opposite. So here's the truth most people don't expect. Fat loss in your 40s is less about aggressively burning more calories and more about supporting recovery, muscle, and metabolic health, which depends on how well fueled and how regulated your body is. And yes, that includes how you eat food you actually enjoy. So let me explain. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make in their 40s is trying to outrun fat loss, or in other words, outrun a bad diet with long cardio sessions, daily HIIT, more sweat. Your body doesn't work that way. When you are in your 40s, this stage of life comes with higher baseline stress. Your cortisol spikes more easily, recovery takes longer, and sleep quality often drops. And when you add excessive cardio on top of that, your body shifts into protection mode, and the body in protection mode holds on to fat. This was exactly where I found myself. I was training hard, I was eating so-called clean, I avoided treats and sweets, and I was wondering why my body felt inflamed, I was stuck, and then it was just unresponsive. And these unrealistic restrictions led to binging. What changed everything wasn't doing more, it was doing things differently. The real shift came from fueling my body properly and doing consistent strength training sessions. The biggest change I made was relearning how to eat in my 40s. Not dieting, not restricting, not cutting joy out of my life, but building structure. Most people are struggling with fat loss at this stage, not because they're just overeating all day. They are actually undereating earlier in the day, under-consuming protein, fearing certain foods, and then dealing with cravings or overeating later, which leads to binging. Like, I cut out rice and pasta thinking that I cannot have these high carb foods or else I'm just gonna get a bunch of body fat. Now I eat rice daily. So your body isn't broken because you're now over 40. It's just underfueled and overstressed. When I changed how I ate, my body finally started responding. And I see this same pattern with our clients again and again. One of our clients, Sarah, came to us feeling completely defeated. She had tried multiple diets and was going to the gym consistently, and she said she was doing strength training, but her weight wasn't moving and her confidence was gone. She felt like her body had turned against her in her 40s. But we didn't put her on another strict plan. We gave her structure, regular meals, enough protein, or I should say adequate protein, balanced carbs and fats, and permission to enjoy food again. We also gave her a strategic strength training plan because it turned out that the training she thought was strength training was actually cardio with weights. So once her body fat fueled and safe, fat loss followed, no issues. This didn't happen overnight. It happened because she was consistent. Guys, there are no quick fixes, there are no magic pills. Your results always come down to putting in the work consistently. So more importantly, Sarah stopped feeling at war with her body. She was proud of her progress, confident in her skinny jeans, and finally enjoying the compliments. So good. So this next part surprises most people. I eat dessert every day, and many of our clients do too. Not because desserts are special, but because restriction creates obsession. When food is forbidden, it gains power. You just want to consume that particular food if it's forbidden. But when it's planned and it's structured, it loses control over you. So we had a client who loved the ice cream, and he consumed a tub of ice cream every single night, which led to binging on other high-fat, high-sugar foods like crisps, biscuits, and all. So we had him create a macro-friendly version of his favorite dessert. It was actually more like a high-protein ice cream. The flavors were the same. His favorite was caramel, so we created this caramel protein ice cream, and actually the satisfaction was better. So building this structure into his evening routine stopped the binge eating. When dessert was no longer forbidden, cravings eased, consistency improved, and his fat loss became sustainable. And this matters even more in your 40s because chronic restriction increases your stress levels even more. And stress is one of the biggest fat loss blockers at this stage of life. Another client, Jessica, when she came to us, she was avoiding her favorite clothes and she felt uncomfortable in her body completely. She'd gained weight in her 40s and she just didn't recognize herself anymore. She felt embarrassed and stuck. Over 6 months, we didn't chase perfection. And again, we didn't give her another restrictive plan, diet plan, or cardio, like crazy cardio sessions. We rewired her negative habits, built new ones, including structured meals, adequate protein intake, daily movement, smart strength training, and she built a healthy relationship with food, which is it's a fundamental step. She didn't just lose weight or fat, she lost body fat. There's a big difference. When people say they lost 25 pounds, that number can include water and glycogen loss and sometimes muscle loss too. Fat loss is the change that actually improves body composition, health markers, and how your clothes fit. But more importantly, she regained her confidence. She trusted herself around food again, and she stopped feeling like her body was the enemy. And that's the real win. So let me be very clear. Fat loss in your 40s works best when you focus on eating adequate protein, drinking enough water, having structured meals with appropriate macronutrient breakdown, including desserts intentionally, and lifting weights properly. What you definitely don't need: extreme diets, endless cardio. We don't need any of those. Remember, you need a system that supports your hormones, nervous system, and recovery. So your training has to be smarter. Strength training is non-negotiable during menopause or if you're a man in your 40s and 50s. Loss of estrogen accelerates age-related muscle loss, and muscle is a primary driver of resting metabolic rate, insulin sensitivity, and body composition. Strength training 2 to 4 times per week preserves lean mass, improves glucose disposal, supports metabolic health, and makes fat loss sustainable. This doesn't mean destroying yourself in the gym. It means targeted, progressive strength training your body can actually recover from. And I'm not talking about those high rocks style endurance focused strength training circuit session that I just referenced earlier, or Pilates classes, because I see so many women in their 40s do these type of classes and then they're killing themselves on the gym floor. No, I'm talking about a strategic strength training plan. That was hard to say. Personalized for your goals, medical history, and your imbalances. Here's the part most people overlook. There's information overload on fat loss, nutrition, and strength training. It's hard to know who to listen to and how to start your own journey. I know that, I've been there. And most people struggle because they are trying to figure this out alone while their body is changing. Google and ChatGPT cannot tell you what meal plan, habit plan, or workout plan is suitable for your personal goals, medical history, and so on. If you ask them, they will generate them for you. You're gonna get these plans. But the issue is they are not suitable. These AI platforms are great to generate meal ideas, recipe ideas, and to get answers to generally basic questions, but not to create a bulletproof personalized meal plan and strength training plan. This has been proven by dietitians and fitness coaches. Those plans are generic and don't account for individual physiology, history, or recovery, which is why many people struggle. Additionally, these AI plans have mistakes in terms of macro breakdown, including foods that should be avoided, and so on. So they also fall short in addressing the human side of nutrition and exercise and our habits, emotions and motivations, which are key to long-term success. Having guidance, accountability, and someone to adjust the plan when your body responds differently is what makes the biggest difference. You only get one body, and you deserve to feel strong, confident, and at home in your 40s and beyond. If you want help losing fat without extremes, shame, or restriction, you can book a call with us through the link in the description. And next, I recommend watching the video where I break down why what worked in your 20s and 30s stops working in your 40s and what to do instead. You're not failing, your body is changing, and with the right approach, you can change with it.